something to think about. God works quickly when we are willing. Number two, remember, in America, you own your religion, your speech, and your property. The government wants to take that away from you. Number three, Bidenomics. What a joke. Worst economy since Obama, if you look at the data. Household income declines and the Midwest crashed. So the topic at hand right now, San Francisco. I want to get into what's going on in Northern California. San Francisco has the highest share of home equity destruction in the nation. 1 in 8 San Francisco home sellers is losing money at closing in 2023 right now. That's based on new data from Redfin, some other sources I looked at. Roughly 1 in every 8, that's 12.34% homes that sold in San Francisco during the 3 months ending July 31st, 2023 was purchased for less than the seller bought it for, up from 5% a year earlier. So in San Francisco, you know, the typical homeowner took a loss, sold their home for about $100,000 less than they bought it for. So San Francisco is tied with New York for the largest median loss in dollar terms right now. Nationwide, the typical homeowner who sold their home for less than they bought it for lost roughly about $35,538. So with Case Shiller, you know, reporting that the nation's worst by far, not to mention, you know, feces covered streets, real estate market is that of San Francisco, where prices have seen an annual decline for the past 8 months, half of which have seen double-digit drops. Check out this chart. So they're getting smacked in the face right now. Maybe it has to do with the policies in California. Just because it's, you know, both terrifying and amusing to watch a formerly great city implode under the weight of Soros-funded DAs. Here, home sellers, you know, were most likely to lose money because the region has experienced outsized home price declines. It was one of the first markets to see prices sink when high mortgage rates triggered a slowdown in the housing market last year. So by April 2023, San Francisco's median home sales price was down a record, folks, 13.3% year over year, more than triple the nationwide drop of 4.2%. So as of July, it was down just 4.3% year over year to 1.4 million. But that compared with a national gain of 1.6%. So the total value of homes in San Francisco has fallen by roughly 60 billion. Let me say that again, 60 billion since last summer. And that's from a separate Redfin analyst, what they found. So prices in the Bay Area have fallen fast for, you know, a few reasons. First, it's, you know, home to the most expensive real estate in the country right now, meaning housing costs had a lot of room to come down a little bit. It has also been hit hard by layoffs in the technology sector. Additionally, it's not as popular as it once was. You know, I used to go there all the time when it was unbelievable, and it started to decline a little bit. So, you know, remote work has allowed, you know, scores of people to relocate to more affordable areas, although people are being forced to go back to work. And, you know, when you look at San Francisco, Detroit, Chicago, New York, which top the list of metros which home sellers are most likely to take a loss, all rank among the top 10 metros, Redfin, you know, reported. And, you know, hey, these Soros-backed DAs where crime has increased in all these blue cities, that has something to do with it big time too. People are scared, they're terrified, and they're sick of it. So if you said that, you know, these are all traditionally Republican-controlled, you know, cities, you failed, you're wrong. So some condos in the Bay Area are now worth less than their owners bought them for in 2018 and 19, in part because, you know, commuting from, let's say, Oakland and other outlying areas into downtown San Francisco isn't really a thing anymore. It used to be. You know, looking at the data from, you know, real estate professionals in Oakland and East Bay and other neighborhoods, it's just, you know, it's not what they want to do anymore. There are buyers out there, but they're a lot more cautious right now and picky than they were when mortgage rates were low. So the Bay Area housing market was, it was unsustainable in my opinion before. So this correction is probably healthy. But the unfortunate thing is prices remain unaffordable for a lot of people, especially with rates now above 7%. So, but, and I want to emphasize this, while the liberal, policies of San Francisco is now officially, America's worst city, the vast majority of U.S. home sellers are still, overall reaping gains, especially, in a lot of cities throughout the country. Even though home prices have fallen from their peak, a majority of home sellers are still, reaping significant financial gains. Nationwide, 97% of home sellers sold for a profit during the 3 months ending July 31st, with a typical home that sold going for, 78.4%, 203,000, roughly 232. So more than the seller bought it for. So today's home sellers are making money despite an ongoing housing downturn, in part because, right now, what's the problem? There's a scarcity of homes for sale. It's fueling bidding wars in certain areas and propping up home values. So more people who bought when home prices peaked would lose money if they sold now. So they're not selling. They're not selling. Many of the homeowners who are selling today have owned their homes for long enough to make a profit, regardless of, month to month, fluctuations you're seeing in the housing values right now. And they're going to roll the dice and make a move. But, what's going on in San Francisco is tragic. I used to live up there and work there for .coms. And I used to hang out in the Russian area, and it was just such a beautiful city, and the restaurants. There is a video of someone who does like a 47-minute video walking through Market Street in downtown, and it's boarded up, and it's really tragic and sad. And you're seeing that also in Beverly Hills in LA, a lot of store closings. And these politicians need to get their freaking act together, because you're destroying these cities because you don't want to arrest people because you're afraid of political blowback. If it's a certain color or race, it's being arrested more than another color or race. And that's what this boils down to, is politics. But people are being raped. People are being mugged. People are being carjacked. People are being killed. You need to have law and order in a country, or you're going to end up like Venezuela. And these cities are being destroyed, and they're all going to turn into third world hellholes. Now, there is a side of the fence. A lot of these people want to do this because they want to control the population and bring people into city centers and make them poor. But you're destroying Detroit, Baltimore, San Francisco, parts of LA, Milwaukee, Chicago. How many murders in one weekend? And this could stop if you change the policies and you start arresting people and start having law and order. You go into a store and steal $900, $500. That's 5 years in prison, for example. You think it would stop? I think it would stop. So you start arresting people and start really putting down the hammer. This would all end tomorrow, and you know it. But I don't know how you go to bed at night with blood on your hands, and you're a district attorney in these cities, and you're seeing old women in the streets being punched. If you look at these Twitter videos, just walking, a 60-year-old woman beat up. I mean, it's just commonplace right now, and it's disgusting, and it needs to change, and it is going to have detrimental effect. And I think more than the data that I went over, it's a part of it. This is a big part of it, is because of the crime. And I'm talking to friends up there who want to get out of there. The crime and what's going on is affecting the real estate values as well. And that wasn't emphasized enough in the data that I looked at, just focusing on inventory. So something needs to change here. And now we're seeing a lot of people that are losing money that are Democrats in the real estate sector. And they're trying to say, hey, what's going on here? Look at the policies of these mayors and district attorneys. Maybe that's the problem.